This is the first ever recorded footage of the Earth from space. As the image distorts, you feel a certain consternation. It is almost like falling into a deep pool of water. You are slowly straying further away from the surface, straying away from what is known, and drifting into what isn't. Whilst this footage is nothing spectacular to an astronomer, it highlights the feeling of impending terror that space portrays. Its vast emptiness is more than just lonely. It is constricting. Seeing the pure and utter powerful size of empty space is so perplexing that it twists my throat into circles. It's as if the universe is slapping us in the face. It is saying, "Your simple body couldn't possibly dare to imagine the sheer complexity of my creations." And it would be right, because the truth is, space is horrendously scary. We assume the horror is out there, in the aliens or the asteroids, but the horror starts in your own head. Psychologists call it astrophobia. It is not just a fear of stars. It is the intense, irrational fear of the void itself. It is the dread of being disconnected from the terrestrial anchor, of drifting in a place where up and down do not exist. For these people, the night sky isn't beautiful. It is a ceiling that has been ripped off. It is the ultimate failure of boundaries. And this fear is rooted in a biological reality. Our minds are engineered for the savannah. We are built for a world of small, finite things. When we look up, we are confronting a reality that violates every rule our brains use to stay sane. This is the aesthetics of terror. Lovecraft called it cosmicism. The idea that humans are particularly insignificant in the larger scheme of intergalactic existence. There is no divine presence watching over us. There is only a crushing indifference, and nothing proves this indifference more than the environment itself. We have this cinematic idea of death in space. We think if your helmet cracks, you instantly freeze. But the reality is much more gruesome. You do not freeze instantly. Space is a vacuum, a thermos. Heat leaves the body slowly through radiation. Instead, the air in your lungs expands violently. The moisture on your tongue boils away. Your skin begins to burn from unfiltered ultraviolet radiation. It is a slow, agonizing suffocation in a place that is neither hot nor cold, but simply nothing. The thermodynamic horror of space is not the freeze. It is the guarantee of extreme disequilibrium. And even if you are safe inside a ship, the isolation begins to eat you alive. In 1976, the crew of the Russian Soyuz 21 mission had to be returned to Earth early. They reported a terrible, acrid smell aboard the station. Replacement crews investigated with specialized gear. They found nothing, no leaks, no chemicals. The smell wasn't in the station, it was in their minds. The isolation was so profound it caused a shared hallucination. This is the psychological reality of the void. It strips away your humanity layer by layer. But if the silence doesn't break you, the sheer scale of the monsters out there will. It isn't until you compare the Earth to others that you realize we have a perfect planet. Take Jupiter, a gas giant made of thick, never-ending storms. There is no surface on Jupiter, just deep, heavy gas. You cannot land a probe there. It will fall for days until it is burnt and crippled, essentially getting dissected by air. We know about the Great Red Spot, a storm that has lasted for at least 400 years. A storm that itself spans a wider distance than Earth. Imagine a heavy raging storm bigger than our entire world, all of which is heavy gas ripping anything near it apart. Everything we know and love exists on a rock smaller than a single storm. And that is just one planet in our backyard. Space is chaos. And there are trillions of planets participating in this chaos. But planets? Planets are nothing. They are specks of dust compared to the stars. Our sun is incomprehensibly huge to us. You could fit 1 million Earths inside the sun. I always feel the numbers don't portray how big it is. But what if I told you the sun is laughably small? It seems like an atom in the eyes of the even bigger. There is an image that evokes a sense of hopelessness in my soul. It is the sun compared to UY Scuti. UY Scuti is a red supergiant. It is estimated to be over 1,700 times the radius of the sun. It spans a diameter of 2.4 billion kilometers. The sheer monstrosity of this object is unfathomable. It is 325 million miles deep, 325 million miles of hot hydrogen and helium. If you were to fall into this star, you would feel that the star itself is the new universe. It introduces the concept of volume horror, stellar structures so large they would swallow Mars or Jupiter's orbits if placed in our solar system, affirming the radical unimportance of our local star. But the universe doesn't just use size to scare you, it uses density. Enter the black holes. Specifically thnks. This is the largest black hole ever discovered. If UY Scuti is a monster, thnks is a god. You could fit our entire solar system inside it. Not once, but 32 times, side by side. It is 66 billion times the mass of our sun. It creates a shadow so large that light itself fears it. Trying to conceptualize this is absolutely pointless. Our feeble brains cannot give it the justice it deserves. The Milky Way galaxy is a speck of nothing compared to this. And yet these monsters are rare. The true horror of space isn't what's there, it's what isn't there. Vastness has a certain taste to it. It's not bitter. It's not sweet. It doesn't really taste like anything but fear. It is the fear of the drop-off cliff in the deep ocean. But in space, the drop-offs never end. Sirius, the distance between us and our nearest neighbor, Andromeda, is 2.5 million light-years. Let's imagine we wanted to travel there. Is there any pit stop? No. Is there anything at all? No. It is all gas and vast open space. For 2.5 million years, you are met with a cold dark void, darkness. This is the horror of architectural emptiness, and there are places much emptier than that. Meet the Bootes void. It is 330 million light-years of essentially nothing. It makes up nearly 2% of the entire observable universe. If our galaxy were in the center of the Bootes void, we wouldn't have known other galaxies existed. Until the 1960s, we would have thought we were alone in the entire universe. And that brings us to the most terrifying question of all. Where is everybody? The Fermi Paradox. There are billions of stars, billions of planets. Statistically, the universe should be teeming with life. But all we hear is silence. This silence forces us into an uneasy introspection. Is there a great filter, a barrier in evolution that kills off civilizations? If the filter is behind us, we are incredibly lucky. We are the first. But if the filter is ahead of us, then our destruction is inevitable. It implies that intelligent species inevitably sabotage themselves, that consciousness contains the seed of its own death. The silence of the universe might not be empty. It might be a graveyard. And while we sit in this graveyard, something else is happening. We are moving, and we don't know why. Scientists call it the dark flow. Galaxies, including our own, are drifting. They are moving at speeds of 600 to 1,000 kilometers per second, towards a specific point between Centaurus and Vela. But there is nothing there, at least nothing we can see. We are being pulled by a massive structure beyond the observable universe. A structure so large it defies our physics. A hyper-object beyond human comprehension. We are drifting in a current we cannot see, towards a fate we cannot know. This is cosmic determinism, and it confirms our total lack of control. But even if we survive the dark flow, we cannot survive time. The scale of time is the most brutal one of all. 13 billion years is the age of our universe. We were luckily born in an era of rampant star growth. We are observing the universe's first steps. But unfortunately, it will likely never be this way again. The universe is slowly dying. It is called the heat death. As the universe expands, matter spreads out. The raw materials for stars get exhausted. Once the universe starts its clock, it doesn't stop, and it waits. Over trillions of years, the lights will go out. The stars we see tonight will burn their fuel. They will explode or fade, and new stars will cease to form. We will be faced with the intense reality of a cold, dark death. But some objects will hold on. The candidates for eternity. First, the black holes. These stubborn balls of infinite density. They will be the last standing celestial objects. But even they are not immortal. Stephen Hawking proved they decay through a process called Hawking radiation. Particles popping in and out of existence at the event horizon. One falls in, one escapes, stealing a tiny fraction of the black hole's mass. It happens so slowly, it is unnoticeable for trillions of years. But eventually, they will evaporate, leaving nothing behind but radiation. The timescale for this is a Google years. That is a 1 followed by 100 zeros. At this point, galaxies have dissipated. But there is one final object, the black dwarf, the corpse of a star like our sun, a ball of gas that has turned into almost solid iron. These guys are the final product of a fully exhausted star, and they will last longer than anything else. Theoretical physics suggests they will exist for 10 to the power of 32,000 years. That is 32,000 zeros. Imagine that number. You can't. Once everything else in the universe has disappeared, the universe will be single-handedly vacated by these black dwarfs, separated by unbelievable distances of nothing. Whispering, cold, baseless, almost pointless stars. They will float through the rest of existence, the final stand of our universe, the remnants of what we once had. But eventually, even they will die. Because nothing escapes entropy. After an almost infinite amount of time, these poor celestial statements will go supernova, the last fireworks in a vast wasteland, giving hope to a potential new beginning. But as the universe has always done, it will wait, and it will watch. It will watch as the final black dwarf explodes, and opens the path to true eternity. Because from the beginning of time, the universe has waited. It waited for the first stars. It waited for the first planet. It waited for your bus stop. It waited for your life. And it will wait for all the stars to die. It has waited all the same, and as the last black dwarf explodes, the universe can now rest, because now it has reached its ultimate contribution, so it smiles. This sounds like a nightmare, a story of ultimate futility, but there is a counter-narrative, a way to look at the abyss, without blinking. It's called the overview effect. When astronauts look back at Earth, they don't feel small, they feel connected. They see Earth not as one planet among billions, but as a delicate crystal ball, the only sanctuary in a hostile void. Sincere, the horror of the vacuum confirms something important, that we are an anomaly. The rare Earth hypothesis. We require a specific magnetic field, a specific moon, a specific location in the galaxy. If the universe is silent, it isn't because we are meaningless. It's because we are the only ones here. We are the observers. Without us, the universe has no history. It has no witness. We are standing on a fraction of a dot, suspended in a sunbeam, surrounded by 92 billion light-years of dead space. The answer to cosmic dread isn't to look out, it is to look down, to cease worrying about our legacy in the eye of the cosmos, and focus on the unbearably precious gift of being here at all. The universe may be vast, it may be cold, it may be indifferent, but for this brief shining moment, whispering, it is ours.